Here we go. The men's 9K gets underway. They don't muck about, do they? Bang, and away they go. No worrying about full starts here. You've got a long way to go, fellas. Just get on with it. I like that. Very businesslike. And it is quick. Crazy quick through the first couple of 100 metres. Kimeli there, just right of centre. Going with this one. Very light on his feet, very lean.
Yeah, we would expect Kimeli to put himself towards the front and try to stay at the front throughout the next 9 kilometres. He is prepared specifically for this. He said he cut his track season short, skipped the Memorial Van Damme, the Brussels Diamond League, which pretty much all Belgian athletes want to be in, so he could take his break, get back into training early and bring himself to a boil for what could be the opportunity of a lifetime to win a European medal on home turf.
Well, the early leader is Arturas Niklaus Medveds of Latvia, the 24-year-old. He's a 13:57 fella at 5,000. Not sure how long he'll last at the front. 52nd in the NCAA cross-country, some 3 weeks or so ago. And that actually is pretty useful if you can get away in the top 50 in NCAAs with the quality of the racing in those American collegiate championships over the fast courses that are the norm in the USA. Then you're in good shape. Umays of Spain is there as well. Augusto of France, right of picture, is right up in the mix early on.
Just while you mention Umays there, Tim, it's probably a good chance to say I was reading an interview with Umays during the week in the Spanish media, and one of his club mates, Celine Bellecourt, a 22-year-old sprinter, lost her life during the week in a quad accident. And Umays has said he's going to dedicate today's performance to Celia, her family, and indeed the club. So our thoughts are with all her family, friends, and the club mates at the Merja Atletismo Club in Spain.
Well, right up there early on, I mentioned Bastian Augusto. He was 6th last year, and he's quick and strong. He's run 3:34 for 1,500, 27:40 on the road for 10K. Augusto, there he is in that tricolour, blue, white and red of France in 3rd place.
It's all a bit of shadow boxing at the moment. I think a lot of the contenders are just sitting back a little bit, watching each other and just letting this race unfold. It's a long way, and we've seen people fall apart so much in those closing kilometres that if you can just conserve, you get to where you want to be after the first kilometre rather than the first few 100 metres, when you can really burn unnecessary energy. And look there back in 7th, 8th, Isaac Kimeli doing just that now, starting to just drift slightly up through the field. The 29-year-old Belgian, the big hope here for individual medal for the hosts.
Medved's then 2:42 after 810 metres. But of course this first lap is where they learn about the route, really, isn't it? You know, they've got to do 6 laps, so you get around the first lap, you know where the good running is, you know the better running line, you know where you can actually stride out, like on this downhill section with a better surface, and then you probably improve your running line with the 2nd and 3rd laps as well. So a lot of these fellas just feeling their way into this at the moment.
Ireland's Kevin McClare there, showing absolutely no fear, the Clare man. It's been 8 years. He was one of the best Irish distance runners we've ever had in the country as a teenager. Broke John Tracy's Irish under-20 record, but went off to America. He was at Oklahoma State University, now at the University of New Mexico. Spent, as he said, 5.5 of the last 7 years injured, and now he's back at the Eurocross as a senior for the first time in 8 years in that skull cap there to the right ear shot.
So if he was a car, he'd be a low mileage car, wouldn't he? Even though he's got a few years on the clock.
He said he ran 94 miles last week, the most he's ever done. So back, great to see him back, a big talent, and for a long time the forgotten man of Irish athletics, but no longer.
Well, Nassim Hazaus of Spain is also up there, the 29-year-old. It's a 13:26 5,000 fella. 7:45 at 3,000, 3:36 at 1,500 metres. He's back in about 7th place there in the red of Spain. A couple of Spanish fests are up there. The other one is Umays, and this is quick. That's a big pack through the first 5 minutes or so. 5 laps to go. Kimeli hanging around in about 15th place at the moment, just easing his way through. I'd imagine he's quite happy with that. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? You've got about 25 fellas there within a couple of seconds.
And I think it's wise the way he's running. You know, talking to some of the Belgian journalists and Belgian athletics fans earlier, There were high hopes for Kimeli, obviously, given the way he's running, given his talent, given the way he's targeted this race. But their one fear was there's an awful lot of pressure on his shoulders. And at times in the past, he's run, I suppose, slightly recklessly, maybe just put in surges at the wrong time and got his tactics and his pace judgment wrong. So I think a lot of Belgians will not be panicking by seeing Isaac Kimeli back there in about 10th or 12th at the moment. Maybe in a few laps they will if he's still back in that position, but right now they'll be happy enough. He is conserving his energy for when it counts most.
Well, Zach Mohammed of Great Britain led through the first lap in 4:46. He's a silver medalist from the under-23 race last year where he took team gold. Ireland on top of things at the moment. Mohammed was only 6th in the UK trial, so he's gone off incredibly optimistically and aggressively through his first few minutes.
This is ambitious here from Milner. He is really, it is a visible increase in pace. You know, he's putting a few meters into those men behind him. And I think a lot of the big guns, like you see your man Kripa there back in 5th place. Schrub is back there. Kimeli is well back. Umay is. I think they're all just keeping an eye on each other, and they're looking ahead and thinking, Milner, well, maybe is he really going to be on the podium? Maybe I can let this one go and just mark the other guys. And there's Jakob Ingebrigtsen and Mo Farah previously, who used to be the masters of that when they're in the pack, just having the patience, not being too impatient and going after every move, knowing what's a dangerous move and what's not a dangerous move, and perhaps just biding the time against your rivals. Let them crack first, let them start the chase, and you can hang on and conserve energy and let them take you back to the lead.
Well, Mohammed led through one lap. It's Hugo Milner, the tall figure for Britain, at the front now, best known as a professional triathlete, and apparently does want to focus upon triathlon, coached by Steve Lloyd. He's won the World Triathlon Cup in Miyazaki. That was his latest competitive outing. Pretty useful, 13:44 for 5,000 Milner, although he's in 2nd place at the moment. Kripa, I love Kripa. He's progressed really steadily these last few years, and to being a sub-13-minute 5,000-metre athlete, and now the European champion at 10,000 metres. He's a great racer. He's broken the hour for the half marathon. Did that in Italy a couple of years back. He's a really consistent racer, is Kripa.
At the front it is Augusto who's taking command at the moment, but not really putting in a surge. Surprising to see these 4 men draw clear, but it's not a huge gap at the moment. Augusto was 6th last year, leading France to team gold on 27:40 on the road for 10 kilometres, but 1,500 metre speed is outstanding, 3:34. Background in football and cycling as teenagers, worked as a stonemason of all things. There's an old school throwback career for you.
Oh, it's lovely to hear, isn't it?
Old school running here from Bastien Augusto, churning it out from the front. He took victory at the Cachenet Pleur cross country. Said after the race, having switched from the roads a couple months ago, cross country mode is activated, and he has certainly activated cross country mode here in the 2nd of 6 laps.
Just saw Henrik Ingebrigtsen go through, back in about 40th place, but the French dominating the team race at the moment from the Italians and Belgians. Ireland in 4th place, but France are packing really well. In the top 15, they've got about 4 runners. And Augusto gets rid of those sleeves there. Maybe it's not as cold as we expected.
Just on Ingebrigtsen there as well. He was one of very few athletes to be competing here today, and to also competed 15 years ago on this same course, the European Cross Country Championships in Brussels. He was the 4th scorer in the under-20 race that day for Norway, helping them to team silver.
We saw Mira just now, Magnus took Mira go through, who was 4th in the under-23 race a couple of years back. There's that 2nd pack coming through, and they really are motoring here. And you know, when you're running along a good strip of ground like that, where you can really fly, and then the crowd start cheering and they're roaring in your ears, and the adrenaline goes up, and you almost get this surge, involuntary surge in your pace. It can affect your judgment a little bit, detrimentally perhaps, because you go too hard through that section while you go past the crowds.
It's funny, but I remember being in a mixed zone once, and Fionnuala McCormack came through after finishing, I think it was 4th in Lisbon at the European Cross Country, and she was saying to one of the Irish coaches, thanks for your advice. And the advice was relax, just relax. Because that was the one person early in the race like this who told her to calm down, that you don't need to drop everyone when 99% of the fans are roaring in your face. Come on, faster, faster. And obviously in a long race like this, you don't want too much adrenaline floating around the system early on, or it could backfire in a big way late in the race.
There is so much quality, so much strength in this field in depth. You've got great runners back there in the 30s and 40s, but Milner leading with almost 10 minutes on the clock at that point. Now we're on 10 1/4 minutes. Milner leading by this little group, and they're just beginning to ease away. He's the tallest of the group. He's easy to spot, is the Briton there, flanked by the Frenchman and the Norwegian that's up there as well. Just looking to check who that is. It's Mira, who's had a really good second lap. Now heading out on this third lap. And Milner asking a lot of questions here of these other athletes. It's impressive to see. I wonder how long he can maintain it.
Yeah, and Yann Schrub has played a patient game over these first 2 laps, but is in perfect position. I think of the Frenchman, he is the man I think a lot of people were picking in the middle of your shot there, to the right of the 2 Frenchmen, as perhaps the danger man for this title. He is the European bronze medalist last year in Munich and he's run 27.47 for 10,000 metres, 13.11 for 5,000 metres, and really at Eurocross, if you want to be looking at a podium position, you have to be getting down into that low 13-minute, perhaps even below range to get on a podium. When it comes to Jakob Ingebrigtsen, your man Cripper, Jimmy Gressier, the guys who filled podiums in recent years, they're normally in and around that low 13-minute region for 5K. And see Cripper there just trying to creep closer and close this gap. It's still early days, and there's great experience in all these athletes. They've been through this mill many times before, and they know it's all about distributing your energy as efficiently as possible.
Well, I thought Cripper was up with this leading group a few minutes ago. He's dropped back a little bit. Milner going really well. He's graduated from Harvard University, concentrating in environmental science and public policy. I don't suppose that's too much on his mind at the moment. He's just giving a great account of himself, Milner. Unheralded this. Doesn't have any fabulously quick track time to his name, but maybe that is less relevant on a surface like this. The undulations, the drags, the sapping slopes here, and the twists and turns and the surface differences make it so different from the demands of track racing. All the more credit, therefore, to those who are track specialists but have given a good account of themselves here today.
It's interesting, you know, what Hugo Milner is doing to this field. You'd wonder what he'd do to a group of triathletes over the last 10K of one of them at the moment, because he is leading them in merry dance right now. I can remember back in Dublin in 2009, Alistair Brownlee, who went on to win Olympic gold, of course, in the triathlon, showed up for the European under-23 champs. I think he got a rude awakening, really, against the running specialist. He finished back in the 40s, but quite the opposite experience here for Hugo Milner. He is keeping this pace an honest one, and could he be on his way to an unlikely medal?
I mean, people have talked about the absence of Jakob Ingebrigtsen being a really decisive thing, you know, and of course you shouldn't say, well, if he was here, he would have won. But I mean, it would be a different race maybe if Jakob was here. It's nice to see these unheralded names battling it out at the front there. Schrub, of course, is pretty well known, but Hugo Milner looking fantastic at the moment with 13.5 minutes on the clock for Great Britain. And Mira, too, from Norway. Not a name I'm that familiar with, but up in the medal positions here, looking pretty smooth, just cruising along behind this pair on one of the better surface sections. Cripper still leading the chasing pack, about 10 metres down in fourth. But the gaps are growing, single file for most of the first 25.
Yeah, Mira was fourth at the 2 years ago in the under-23 European cross-country championships, but currently occupying the same position here, but sure he'll have eyes on a first senior medal. Lowered his PB at the World Road Running Champs over 5 kilometres on the road from 14:08 to 13:33 did Mira. And he's continuing that good form now. I wonder if he just kept that season going. That championships is in October. I wonder if he even took a break, because he is looking, Mexico's leading 3. That's the most comfortable there on the inside, but very hard to tell at this early stage who really is comfortable. We're coming up to the halfway point, into the home straight now. Mira perhaps just showing us south at the front, and almost, it looks like it's, he almost goes down there, took a bad step, foot just went from under him, almost.
I almost think that Milner helped him there, grabbed his hand. I think
he did.
Kind of weird. And Milner nearly went down himself.
I think what Mira was doing there was trying to find that tiny little sliver of dry ground that's right in along by those advertising hoardings of the branding, and it perhaps backfired. Could have been on spectacularly wrong, but he survived well. He's back in third, and it was interesting because that was at a point where he was hitting the front and almost looking like the pace was too slow for him, as if he was tripping over himself.
Well, he's glancing around there is Schrub, looking very relaxed indeed. Is the shortest of the three, the 27-year-old. He's been 6th in 2021 in this race, 7th last year. He's having the run of his life here. He has picked things up a little bit. He came 9th in Budapest over 10,000 metres. And if you were in the Hungarian capital last summer, you'll know how sweltering hot it was in Budapest. Really, really difficult racing conditions. So he acclimatised well and gave a great count to himself there. Yann Schrub looking strong now. And they've taken turns at the front, these three. Mira was at the front a minute ago. Milner's been at the front quite a lot in the last few minutes. And now Schrub.
Yeah, Schrub took 2 years, scaled back his medical studies on the build-up to Paris 2024, and indeed on the minds of all French athletes these days. And he said, concentrating on athletics for the last couple of years, he said, this rhythm of life allows me to breathe. And Schrub is very much breathing free and easy there at the front, not a speck of dirt on his face. And he's keeping this pace honest, and Mira's going with him. And that gap, for the first time to Mira, looks like it might be opening in a real way. Maybe not. Still only 5 or 6 metres. They won't ride off Mira just yet, but Schrub, we expected him to feature strongly. He is now, as we enter the second half of this race, the crucial laps.
Rob Hendricks going really well too for Belgium. The Robin Hendricks, he's the 28-year-old. He too, pretty unheralded. He's a 13-14 5,000 metre runner, as we see this slow-mo of these fellas getting through the mud so well. Don't worry about whether your shoes were clean or not before the race. They won't be clean after this. But Hendricks in 4th place. And actually, is that another Belgian in 5th place? Just looking there as Schrub leads. Mira, Milner, Schrub 1, 2, 3. Hendricks and Jon Heymans. Jon Heymans is also up there as well as Milner. Huge fella. C2 there just skips over that puddle.
It really is, and look at this. Look at the gap that's opening to Schrub and to Mira. They still have him within sights very much, as the Belgians are really coming through strongly here, and it's 2 men. Isaac Kameli, perhaps the guy we thought might be most up there, is falling back, but he's still contributing to the cause. 3 Belgians in the top 8. This is an outstanding performance. They're out in front in the team race, ahead of France, and Ireland currently in 3rd, past halfway.
Wouldn't that be great? A capping of the day for the Belgians, the final race of 7. They got a medal in the last race, their first of the day. If they got the team gold in this, I think a lot of people would feel that's good. That's a nice sort of just way to round off what has been an astonishing day's championships of the 29th SPAR European Athletics Cross Country Championships. If you joined us in the last few minutes, you're seeing the climax of the day's racing with the men's 9-kilometre race, the 7th race of 7. And we're about halfway through as Hugo Milner of Great Britain leads from Yann Schrub, and Mira of Norway in 3rd place. One of the Israeli athletes moving through really well now, has come to the fore over the last few minutes. That's Tadesse Gitterhon. Kimeli hasn't yet really made his mark. He's back there in about 10th place. He's just outside the critical positions, but he's still within shooting distance of these fellas. He can get up there if he can run a strong last 10 minutes.
Yeah, Getahan there for Israel, coming through very strongly up to 5th. He's going to be challenging for bronze, I'm sure, maybe even for the gold or silver. He's really paced it well. He's a 60-minute half marathoner. He's also a 27:33 10,000 metre runner. And he's recently 6th at the Porca cross country in Spain, which is a loaded race.
Schrub and Milner battling this out, and it's this little battle between these two which is keeping the gap back to Mira healthy, and maybe will pull them clear, although that Belgian pairing, wow, are they going well? Hendricks and Heymans in 5th and 6th, I think, at the moment. Kimeli is up there in the top 10 as well. The crowd will be going absolutely bonkers as this race continues, and they can see their team, and the public announcing, keeping the spectators well aware, can see their team getting up there and maybe challenging for gold.
And I mentioned earlier about, if you want to get on the podium in a European cross, you need to be in the low 13 minutes. Well, Hendricks and Heymans have pretty much identical PBs. Both of them have run 13:50:14 for 5,000 metres, and as their PBs suggest, they're locked together here at around, 6 kilometres or so, well past 6 kilometres now. Back in 4th and 5th place with eyes on individual and team medals.
Schrub, they'll glance over his shoulder there, left from that corner, ahead of Milner, Mera, and then the Belgian pairing, wow. And then the Israeli, he's going superbly, is Getahon. And Kripa, suffering a little bit at the moment, he's just slipped outside the top 10 or so. He's back in about, I think he's in about 11th.
Irish champion Cormac Dalton, their brilliant run to win the national championships in the sprint finish. He's in the top 10, and Ireland now have 4 men in the top 20. Depending on how things play out, they could be on for a team medal here, just 2 points behind Britain in 4th with 2 laps to run. Belgium, though, firmly in command.
Well, and the adrenaline's got to be pumping more for those Belgian athletes. Surely they're not going to relinquish the lead now. These fellas side by side with a teammate, unexpectedly high up, doing so well here. They know that they've got Kimeli as backup as well. They'll be getting information from the sidelines. Team management will be screaming at them of their positions and their team position just to give them a little extra impetus. But Schrub now turning the screw, 21 minutes on the clock, and I get the impression he's trying to break Milner here. Mera sticking to the task, is a little bit isolated, that Belgian pairing closing on him. There's Cripper, he's moved up a little bit, he's in the top 10, Cripper. Is he about 8th, I think? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th. He's actually in 7th now as Cripper. He's got the Spaniard behind him. That's Ukelfen, I think, who's going really well. Red vest left a picture. But that gap is growing, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is starting to come down to a 2-man race. I don't want to tempt fate. And I think of the two, Yann Schrub is the man who is looking around most, and much like in our under-23 race earlier with Will Barnicott, I don't think he's looking around out of fear. I think he's looking around to gather some information ahead of this final lap, but just identifying, right, where are the big guns? Where are the guys like Crippa? Where are Kimeli? Where are the Belgians? Because I think maybe up against a guy who mixes triathlon with running, he might fancy his chances as a specialist in this discipline over this last lap, and it's starting to boil down to a head-to-head race unless Mira can produce something, a comeback, but it would need to be something special, because he would not have let that 15-20 metre advantage open if he could at all help it.
The gap is not big though, it's not really growing, that gap between Mira and the leading pair, but if anything, I reckon the Belgians in 4th and 5th, Heymans and Hendricks, are perhaps closing on Mira, so his bronze medal position is under threat. Schrub will probably be getting told that the Belgians are coming. Milner maybe as well. So these two need to keep working. Keep your as they say, keep yourself close to the cliff face and keep working hard. Schrub getting a little bit of daylight on Milner here, who needs to dig deep. Doesn't want to get sucked in by that battle by the Belgians.
It's a helpful course for someone who wants to check where the competition is with all these U-turns here, and Schrub is making full use of it there, looking to his left scene, and I think it might be no accident that we see him accelerate down that hill and for the first time open what looks like an actual serious advantage, 10-12 metres perhaps now over Hugo Milner. This could be the race-winning move, but he's going early, about 2 kilometres left at this point. Can he hold it together and bring this home? He's looked so relaxed throughout, and now as he makes his move, he still looks relaxed. Not a trace of fatigue on that face. What we do know is that Schrub has got massive pedigree. You mentioned his track credentials.
3:13:11 for 5,000, 7:40 for 3,000. Funnily enough, not a particularly quick 1,500 time, but that doesn't matter. It's of less relevance in this sort of event. He is a very consistent 10,000 metre performer. He has that bronze medal from Munich 2022, the European Championships. Made the top 10 in Budapest last year against all the best that Africa could throw at the championships, and has finished 6th and 7th in this race over the last 2 years, respectively. So he knows what he's up against here. The Belgians go through, so does the Israeli Getter. He's having a fabulous run, Getter. The Belgians, Heymans and Hendricks, responding to the crowd here. You can see Heymans working so hard, and look at this, Schrub has gone. All of a sudden, he's opened up another 20 metres. That's appeared in the space of about 2 minutes, maybe less, and Schrub has got 25 metres, and it could be the first French victory of the day.
This is outstanding stuff from Yann Schrub. He has put big distance in a short amount of time there into his chief rival, Hugo Miller. He looks to be on his way to gold. As he said, top 10 at the World Championships, the top European in that race. He looks like he's going to be top European here. He is well on his way. And the Belgians, what more can you say about the Belgians? Hendricks and Heymans, they have to suffer for about another 5 minutes, and they will remember this day for the rest of their lives. 4th and 5th place, pretty much deadlocked there for 3rd, Hendricks with Meyer in that battle for bronze, but by all means Hugo Milner there in 2nd at the moment is only 3 seconds ahead on the course. They may well run him down and take a silver, and they look like they're on their way to gold. Belgium producing a magic performance here on home turf to wrap up what has been an outstanding edition of the SPAR European Cross Country Championships. But out front, it looks like it's France on top as we head into an Olympic year in Paris. Yann Schrub, who took time out from his medical studies to focus on running to achieve everything he could, looks to be on his way to a European cross-country title.
So the last 4 laps gone 5:01, 5:09, 5:09 mid-race, and then a 5:04 that penultimate lap, and he heads out onto this final lap now. Does Yann Schrub, and Milner has had to relinquish 2nd place, and there's been brilliant work by one of the Belgians, and he's looking superb is Hendricks. Milner in 3rd place now behind the Belgian. Mira back in 4th. Norwegians had to let go of the bronze medal position that he held for so long, and the crowd are roaring this man on, and I don't think we're going to see Hendricks, and we saw Milner nearly go down on that corner. I don't think we're going to see Hendricks now giving much ground up, as Schrub surely is heading for gold. Great Britain out of the medals now. Ireland in 3rd place behind the lead
Belgium and
France, and certainly there's been a lot of chopping and changing over this last lap or so, but Schrub leads. Milner having a real ding-dong there for the silver and bronze medals. It's anybody's race. Hendricks, Mira, Milner. Mira came back there at both Milner and Hendricks, and now Hendricks goes into that muddy section, almost accelerating into that muddy section, but Schrub is away. And the fascinating thing is that he opened up most of this lead, or a big chunk of this lead, in the space of about 400 metres approaching the bell. He went really early, and it's paid off so far.
Yeah, 6th 2 years ago in Dublin, 7th last year in Italy. He's won, obviously, the European medal on the track, the bronze medal over 10,000 metres last year. But Yann Schrub here in Brussels is proving he can do it just as well on the country. He'd never won a medal before at the European Cross Country Championships, and he's going to go right to the top of the podium. It's going to be at least probably a silver medal in the team event as well. But an individual gold to bring back across the border tonight, and the French supporters are here in their masses.
Listen to the crowds here. The atmosphere has been quite fabulous throughout the afternoon. The spectators have roared their athletes on, every athlete on. Schrub leads 28.10 at 8.3 kilometres. Milner 10 seconds down. He's locked in a battle with Mira, the Briton, locked with Mira, the Norwegian. Hendricks of Belgium. Can the Belgians get a medal here? Can they get somebody on the rostrum? And they look like they're heading for team gold anyway. Look at the packing for the Belgians. Heymans and Kamelian, 7th and 8th. Getahon of Israel and Ukelfen of Spain giving great account of himself here. Heymans is just going through a bad section. He's really suffering. Look at him. Hendricks, his teammate, is closing on him, but as long as they can hold those positions, not lose too much, then Belgium are assured of the gold. And Dalton, the best of the Irish at the moment.
The national champion is turning in a hell of a performance. The University of Tulsa graduate, he's up in 9th. Heymans and Camilli, the 2 Belgians, just ahead of him in 7th and 8th. They're still being led, the Belgians, by Robin Hendricks. 3 in the top 10 on home turf. They're well on the way to team gold. What a performance by the hosts. Pressure can do 2 things to you as an athlete. It can make you crumble or it can make you rise to a new level. And for the Belgians, it's made them hit a new level here on home turf. But no doubt about who's on the way to individual gold, Tim.
It's Yann Schrub who leads. This the battle for the minor medals. There's only a few hundred metres to go. Mira of Norway has rallied. He's battling on. A glance over his shoulder. Henrik Ingebrigtsen further back surely has been an inspiration to this young man through his career. But Yann Schrub of France is heading for gold. He has destroyed them over this last lap and a half. It's been a majestic run by the Frenchman. At the age of 27, the European Championship bronze medalist at 10,000 metres last year becomes gold medalist over the country in Belgium this year. It's been a quite fantastic run from Yann Schrub. France have gold in the senior men's race. Mira takes silver for Norway. What a run from him. And Hendricks gets that bronze. And Hugo Milner, after for so much of the race being in medal contention, ends up in 4th place. He must be gutted. A battle for the minor places. In 5th place coming through is the Israeli. Brilliant run from Getahon. Heyman's there as well in 6th place. There's the top 6. Schrub, well, his dominance actually belied by that 3-second margin. He was very, very strong through the final lap. And the rest of them come across the line in their hordes now. It's been a much tighter race, this one, in terms of timings in the top 20 or so. And in the team race, well, unofficially, it looks like Belgium have secured gold. France, 2nd. We're waiting for confirmation on the minor medals. It may well be Norway and Ireland, 3rd and 4th. But how superb that Belgium get the gold in the team race and an individual silver in the final race of the day. They have been wonderful hosts, and it's just reward.
Questionable choice of headwear there for Yann Schrub, but no doubting that performance over 9 kilometres, an exhibition from the 27-year-old. 6 laps. He waited until the penultimate lap to really start imposing himself, and he waited until the final lap to have the last laugh. First medal, and it's a gold one here at the European Cross Country Championships for Yann Schrub. Belgium take the team title with 20 points. France silver with 26. Norway came through brilliantly for bronze with 32. And Ireland denied 4th, 13 points behind Norway with 45 points, and that's Britain back in 5th.
And we mentioned earlier that there are athlete refugee team runners here. Well, Jamal Abdel Maji Asa Mohammed for the athlete refugee team. ART finished in 9th place here today. Best of the Irish, Cormac Dalton in 8th place. And just to confirm those medalists for you. Yann Schrub of France took gold. Magnus T. Vermeer takes the silver for Norway. And Robin Hendricks of Belgium taking that bronze medal with Hugo Milner from Britain in 4th place. Superb run that from Milner, again unheralded, having not really been expected to make the rostrum here. Yeah, that's a team race. Was tight, wasn't it? There was no
the
runaway.
Norwegians there in 3rd. As I said, 15 years on from Henrik Ingebrigtsen, helping the junior team to team silver. He's been part of this team in 12th place overall. 2nd Norwegian scorer. That is longevity. Perhaps one of the stories of the day, that Belgian team rising to the occasion.
Isn't it? And it's nice, isn't it? You know, not only they've been great hosts for the 3rd time in Belgium since the start of the championships, this is the 29th edition. But, you know, Belgium is one of the great strong beds of cross-country running. They've put on a really tough cross-country course here this weekend, which has actually been very, very good. Twists, turns, hills, changes in surface, and it's a fabulous reward for them to get that team gold.
Agreed. Do you think Yann Schrub's going to regret that headwear when he sees the photos in a few years?
I suspect he couldn't care less. I think
It'll give him an even bigger smile when I'm sure that picture will be above his mantelpiece at some point. What an achievement. By far the biggest achievement of Yann Schrub's career. Obviously had that European track bronze over 10k, but this is different stuff. He is the champion of Europe.
The French squad, of course, 3 score, but they all get a medal. They will all get that team medal. And Schrub led them so wonderfully. Just double checking those team results. Yes, Belgium from France, from Norway. really nice international spread there. Ireland 4th, Great Britain 5th, and Spain 6th, Germany 7th. Cross country is getting bigger in Germany. It's beginning to take on some real momentum. Traditionally not a big stronghold of cross country running. Italy 8th, Sweden 9th, and Portugal in 10th place. And in the individual race, just checking, Kameli finishing in 11th place. He will be disappointed with that, but he was 3rd Belgian scorer, and he gets a gold medal in the team race. That's lovely to see too, the Norwegian lads celebrating. And there will be an Ingebrigtsen on the podium for the 7th championships in a row. Can you believe? The Norwegian family have done their nation, their country's best, proud year after year after year. 7th championship in a row, and Ingebrigtsen will be on the roster. Boy, oh boy. Loud and proud, that Norwegian flag being held aloft. Those fellas have been quite fantastic. 3rd team place for them, and just to remind you of their position.